Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
All right, I know I've been promising some Skeleton Crew follow up, and well, I'm gonna start delivering on that promise.
It's been a week since the finale. I'm having withdrawals. It was actually really good.
It was really good, and that's why I want to talk about it some more. Some of the details that were in there, some of the things that made those happen. Along with John Watts and Ford, they had lots of directors who previously worked in Star Wars directing for them, like David Lowery, the Daniels.
Bryce Dallas Howard did one.
Yeah, Lee Isaac Chung, Jake Schreier, and they said, "Hey, it's rare to see other directors get to work together. What's it like?" Especially seeing as you were their bosses. Watts said, "Well, Jake Schreier and Bryce, I knew from film school. It's great. I've come from working with producers who are open-minded to my ideas. Just let me go and do my thing. So I tried to take the same philosophy and apply it to the show. What was helpful was that everyone understood the tone in the world, so there wasn't a lot of lording over directors when they were on the set. If anything, we encouraged them to take what we had done and run with it, knowing they would bring their unique perspectives to each of their episodes. As a director, like you said, you never really get to watch other directors direct selfishly. I was just sitting on set, waiting to see how Isaac would handle a scene versus Bryce or David." That's interesting. They kind of used it more like a community learning experience to see how each of them were working.
Well, I like when they're observing each other so they know how one person is doing it, because you don't want to do radically different, I would imagine. You know what I mean? You're
Right,
trying
you
to
have
make
to
a
keep that
coherent
tone and
series, yeah.
which
want...
it was.
No, I actually thought it was great in that department. Very, very consistent, very tight storytelling. The characters didn't feel wonky in one episode compared to another.
Right. They also said, hey, you guys expanded Star Wars canon considerably with the creation of At Attin. So they asked them how Lucasfilm worked with them on the process of creating something like that. Ford said, "They're so open to it. If anything, it was our hesitance because we, at first, had Star Wars up on the pedestal, not wanting to mess it up. And they're saying, no, make your own thing. There's little bits and pieces that you futz with to make it all make sense, but if anything, it was them encouraging us to go further." I thought you would at that. Because Star Wars on the pedestal, how much do you touch it?
Yeah. I mean, how free are we talking? I mean, is that just kind of lip service where they're like, oh, yeah, go do your own thing. And then they do something over the boundaries and they're like, oh, no, you can't do that.
Walk it back, guys.
Yeah. I mean, because you want the creators to feel like they have freedom. You don't want to immediately hamstring them because, oh, you can't do this, can't do that, and give them the list of things they can't do. I just hope that it's not like, oh, yeah, we were just able to do whatever. Nobody cared about the lore over at Lucasfilm.
Yeah. I mean, even Watts said there's this incorrect notion that there are all these hard and fast rules that you can't do, and that there's these gatekeepers that won't allow you to make up new things. We found it to be the complete opposite. We were like, could we do this? Could you add this? Could we make this kind of a world? And they were like, yeah, great, go for it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to give another Like, I think that's fine. I think the problem is when you make something that is contradicting something else. Like, I'm cool with making new and different worlds. I didn't know I was going to like At Attin at first. I thought it was too earthy, to use my word again.
I mean,
but I'm like, by the end, I'm like, it's
the
fine.
The suburbs planet, we were all worried about it.
Yeah, it made sense for the story. Yeah.
It's fine.
I don't know that I love it, but I'm certainly very accepting of it. And I just want the lore that is in place respected. That doesn't mean I can't take new things to be added to. I want new things added.
I'd honestly be really curious to see how At Attin changes over the years now that it's part of the rest of the galaxy.
It would be cool to go back to At Attin in 30 years in universe and see, like, are they still a suburb planet or has everything else crept in?
The First Order took them over.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
We don't know.
Never mind. I don't want to see that time period.
All right. Then they were asked, the show progresses. They imply At Attin's origin comes from a much earlier Star Wars era.
The Jewels of the Old Republic.
Yeah. And so they asked Ford and Watts, how much of that was in your heads? Watts says there are drafts where we were explaining everything at certain points in the show.
Let me read it.
Ford said, they get into the supervisor's room and he literally explains everything. And we were like, wait, we can't do this. It's really boring. Would you want half the episode to be exposition? No.
No. I wonder if there was a cut of this show that did go exposition heavy, and that is what they saw and what we heard the rumors about, where it's like, oh, we don't even know what to do with this show because it was so exposition, so much like, we're going to explain every single thing to you, and then they just chop the hell out of it. and just like we don't need to explain everything, and that is what we got, and it worked. Though I think a lot of us still want some answers.
Yeah, Watt said on our side of it, you have to figure out all of the details and then decide how much of it is dramatically expedient to reveal. So you build a world that has that depth and don't necessarily show everyone every side of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, go back to the OT, go back to A New Hope. It's not like every 5 minutes we were getting heavy exposition about how everything worked. Yes, we have like the Obi-Wan scene where he's like, Luke, this is the Force, and so on. But it's not like you want to slow it down to the point where it becomes just an encyclopedia of knowledge. You want it to be a story and an adventure, but you got to give little tidbits. Right, and I think where they could have given tidbits in this was at the bitter end. We could have had like a 3-minute epilogue where we got some knowledge about what happens next and what was the deal. But other than that, I'm very happy with the show.
Absolutely. Continuing on with At Attin, which is probably we're just going to concentrate on At Attin for this whole time here because it is interesting. They asked bluntly, how long had At Attin existed with zero contact to the outside galaxy?
Good question.
Watt said, Star Wars is such an active, smart, involved community. It's great watching people make different connections and coloring in parts of the illustration that we're thinking about. It's fun to let it be out there with some of that ambiguity, and then if we come back to it in a second season, decide what you really want to lock in. Ford also says, honestly, it's because it's slightly too complex for especially episodes that are like a ride. It's like, well, the planet was hidden on purpose a really long time ago. Then it was kind of half forgotten about, except for a few people, and then those people were killed. It's many layers of forgetting.
We need this story. I mean, we really do. Like, I appreciate the fact that they do have the backstory. It's not like, well, we're just going to tell you these things and we have no idea how it actually works or what actually happened.
But they know. They know how it works.
I'm very cool with that. I'm happy to hear that because I think it would be annoyed if they're like, yeah, we just like J.J. Abrams did. Like, we mystery boxed it, but we don't have any answers, but here you go.
Right.
You want to be...
I'm happy that they have answers and they're trying to find a more intelligent way to give us the answers to it than just going, here's your exposition dump.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that. You want to show. You don't want to tell. You don't want to bog down the story with an encyclopedia explanation for everything.
Yeah.
But you do want to get some of that.
It's like how we got to know Jod. We didn't get an exposition dump. We got bits and pieces of him throughout the episodes through words and actions.
It was fun to speculate about what is motivating him and then be like, oh yeah, I get it.
All right, so the last topic they talked about. They asked him bluntly, did you talk to Lucasfilm about the implications of At Attin being revealed to the full galaxy?
No, that they didn't consider.
Watt says, yeah, if you talk about what a second season would look like, there's so many repercussions to all the things that we did. Ford said, even beyond the story, these characters, when we first proposed this, I think Filoni and Favreau and everyone realized, oh, you're giving us this giant pile of treasure that can be an element in Star Wars. Watt says, now that we've put it on the board, there's a big pile of treasure out there if anybody wants it. So they're saying if they don't get to it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're calling it a big pile of like Star Wars lore.
No, I know. Well, it's both literal and figurative with the treasure there, yeah. But no, I mean, I would love a season 2 just for the answers. I don't know that we need season 2. I think it was a very complete story, but there are so many little tidbits of information I still feel like we need that I think a season 2 would be cool.
Well, and it was liked enough to want a season 2. We'll just have to see what Disney decides. Does the fan base saying, hey, we like this show, is that enough for them to go, let's keep going? Or do they go, well, we spent too much money, we don't think we got enough viewership, does that stop them, you know?
The problem is most of the people who watched it seemed to like it, but not a lot of people watched it. I mean, not that these are the actual numbers, but if like 10 people watch something and 9 think it's good, that's one thing. If 1 million watch it and 900,000 think it's good, that's a whole other story. You're not wrong.
All right, I think we'll save some more stuff for tomorrow, because I think we covered all the At Attin information. Maybe tomorrow we'll talk some about Mr. Nanawood.
I would love to talk some more Nanawood.
I know you would like to talk Nanawood.
All right, well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of any and all of today's news. Tell us what you think about At Attin's place in the Star Wars galaxy. And let's talk some Star Wars. And so, until next time, thanks for watching.